Hey y'all, today I thought we'd talk about the Orient Express because I got it motorized, as you saw in my last video, and I realized I never really talked about motorizing it because I did it over probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and I built the train over, I don't know, probably about a month or so, maybe even longer than that. So you've seen me use it, you've seen it go around, you've seen it wreck so many corners in my layout, but I never really talked about it. So let's go and talk about the Orient Express, how I went about motorizing it, what I did to motorize it, and take a look at the motorization parts of it and kind of what I went through, and I'll tell you about what it cost me. So let's go ahead and jump over and take a look at the set. Okay, so the one thing I do want to point out is that I bought this in, I guess, June, right after I got back from Brick World Chicago. Actually, I ordered it while I was in Brick World Chicago for my birthday present, and I got it like a week later or so. And the one thing I want to point out is that it was still shipped. I bought it on Lego, and it was still shipped with the misprinted tiles. These are now corrected with the misprinted tiles and the wrong stickers. Now I'm going to talk about both of those. First off, the misprinted tiles, Munich is missing the umlauts, and it's this one I don't remember what's wrong. One of these is spelled wrong. So it's these two tiles that are wrong. And so I obviously wanted those fixed. And so it's just a very quick email to Lego. It's a little bit a shame that even though it shipped from Lego, I'm assuming that they know that that set was produced with the misspellings and the wrong sticker sheet, and yet they didn't tell me about it. They didn't do anything about it, just by their own nature. They didn't ship with it. So that's a little bit frustrating because, in fact, I didn't even know that the misprints were still happening. And the other thing that I didn't know is I didn't know that the sticker sheet was wrong. And so, obviously, I emailed them about the misspellings to get the new tiles. It's just, you get 4 new tiles. And I also got my new sticker sheet. And so the problem with the sticker sheet is that you can see here, and I hold it up, you can see that the details are not printed on the shinier film, even though the rest of the sticker sheet, I don't know if I have the unused sticker sheet around here, but even though the rest of the sticker sheet was shiny, because the mirrors are printed correctly, and whatever you want to call this is printed correctly, but these did not print correctly. And so when I got this, and I was going to take these off and put this on, but I actually think I like the misprinted stickers better. I think that this like mustardish yellow, I don't know what else to call it except for mustard yellow. I think that it matches the flat gold better than the shiny. And same thing with up here. I think this actually matches better than the shiny version. I mean, I just don't feel like the shiny version added that much. Maybe it matches this a little bit better, but I think I like this better. And so I actually didn't use my new sticker sheet. And I don't think I will. So I'm just going to file it away. In case if I ever do decide to either sell the set or change them out or whatever. But I think, especially when you step back from the model, I think those look much better than the replacement ones. But anyways, it's just a quick email to Lego. They come in a couple days, just as if it was like a regular online PAB order from the best sellers. And you can replace it or whatever. Okay, so let's talk about the set. I love this set. I absolutely love this set. It looks fantastic in person. I love the dark, all of the dark blue with the gold accents. I think it looks great. I love that there's so many printed pieces. I don't know why they went through the trouble of printing all of these pieces, but then didn't print these. Seems a little silly to me, but whatever. So this is the only stickers that are in No, I guess there is a second. There is another sticker sheet. They're all on the interior though. But I love the set. It was a really fun build. The interiors are great. I will eventually add lighting to them, and they have very detailed interiors. The cars are huge, and so let me line this up. Since I think a lot of us probably have the passenger train or have seen the passenger train, you can see it's almost 2 full cars worth of train. Or if you look at it another way, let me line this up. The front of the car is lined up with the front of a Mills plate, and it is over 32 studs long. It's 32, 36, 40. What's that, about 44 studs long, 46 studs long. So the cars are huge, and that's what wrecked my corners, because the cornering distance is ginormous. But anyways, that's that. There's lots of other real life views online. It's a great set. Would highly recommend. I'm thinking about getting a second one. There's some problems with getting a second one because I want more cars added on, but then my side track doesn't work very well because I don't think I have enough room to put 2 more cars and still have room to pass on either end. So that's a little bit of a problem. So I haven't really just decided on that. There's some great other mock-ups done of other car types that you can add onto this on rebrickable. So that's something I might do in the future. But for right now, it's going to stay as is. And let's talk about the engine. Okay, so this is the engine, and this part is not stock. I didn't even build the stock version. So I don't even know what that build was like. I don't know what it looked like, etc., etc. Okay? We'll talk about this in a second. The tender, however, is the stock build with the exception of one thing. I added 1 extra layer of plate here for 2 reasons. First off, I thought it kind of balanced out top and bottom a little bit. It looked a little thin on the top side. And secondly, this fits a hub down inside, and it fits perfectly. I mean, it really fits bloody perfectly. And even has the little flap up and all that. It's really like they were going to motorize it and just decided not to for whatever reason, because it is a little complicated to motorize. But anyways, the hub fits great. I just went up 1 to just kind of give me a little more cordage room here. So that's literally the only reason why I added 1 extra thing there. But let's talk about the motor, or let's talk about the engine, and I'll pull the top off. I'll show you the motorization and all that. Okay, so I looked at all of the motorizations options that have been presented out there. And the 2 biggest options are you redo the front end of this, you stick a motor inside the boiler, or what would be the boiler area. You gear it down to drive wheels, and that's how you motorize the engine part, or you motorize the tender. And so I thought really hard about just motorizing the tender. And I think if I knew I was never had the thought of adding more cars on, I would probably have just motorized the tender. It is significantly easier. It's a little bit cheaper, and it all just kind of works easy. And so that is the option, but I did not choose that option. But I know that would have worked because I don't know if I showed this on one of my previous videos, but that's how I motorized this. So this is just the battery pack sits in here. This is the powered up train motor, and the connection just comes up top. This flips up. Right there's the hub, and it works fine. I could have done that for this, and it would have worked just fine because I literally ran it around with that, with just the tender. So I know that would have worked fine. But my concern was if I added more cars, if I added even just 1 more car, would it still be able to pull it? And the consensus that I found on the internet is maybe. And I don't like maybes. I don't like redoing things 18,000 times just because I didn't have the forethought to do it, okay? And so I started looking at the options to motorize the front engine with gears and all of that. And I came across a YouTube video by Danjo Trains. And if you haven't looked at his train videos on YouTube, they're amazing. He's really good at explaining stuff and going through all the processes. And highly recommend. I will link in the description below all of his social media stuff, because he is on top of it. And so he did all kinds of tests. He showed all kinds of video tests of all different types of configurations. He tested just motorizing the tender and then how many cars it could pull. Couple different variations on motorizing the engine part. And this was his version 3, I think he called it. And it is actually 2 large motors with a differential gear here in the middle that drive 2 wheels. And so this is what I decided to go with, because he pulled a whole bunch of trains, or a whole bunch of cars with very little problems. And with as many weird, quirky turns there are in my layout, I knew that having a little bit of torque and some power was going to be what I needed. And so this is what I went with. I think I'm probably in it about 50 or 60 bucks. Obviously, the biggest cost is going to be these motors. I found them on Bricklink, I think, for 20 bucks a piece, maybe 15 bucks a piece. Everything else is not expensive. I just reused one of my hubs, so I did not buy a hub, but the battery hubs are what, 30, 40 bucks. So had I needed to buy that, it probably would have been closer to 80 or 100 bucks to motorize, but I did not need to buy the hub, and so I saved myself a little bit of money. But there's 2 engines here, and I opted, and he has directions for all of this. I opted to use a program called PieBricks, and I was not aware of PieBricks before this, and it is super freaking cool. I will 100% be using it again. But PieBricks is a program you can load onto your hub, and you can kind of reprogram your hub using either Python code or a graphic type code. And what that does is that allows me to do individual incremental control using a remote rather than all or nothing with a remote like they would be just with the stock hub and all that. And so let me pop the wheels up off this so that I don't have this running around the track. And let's take a look at kind of how this works on the inside. Okay, so I got it propped up here. This is the only set of wheels that actually moves. And so I can go ahead, and that is with just one motor. Okay, so I'm just using my remote to turn that up. And then this will engage the second motor. And you can see it really goes. So that's all the way up on both. Now, the interesting thing is with this differential gear, you don't have to have them going. So this is just one motor. Then I can incrementally add in the second one. Now, the one thing that is kind of weird, if I take this one backwards, actually, let me do it this way. I'm going to go 4 clicks up. 1, 2, 3, 4 on this one. 4 clicks back on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. You will see the wheels don't move because they are literally canceling each other out for the most part. So the differential gear kind of adds, right? And then just transfers it down to this wheel through a couple gears on the inside, and it just works. So as you can see, I can either increase either one. It doesn't really matter. They all kind of do the same thing, and it really cooks. I think the only thing that I would like to change yet is I would like to get an aftermarket rubber ring for this rather than just the Lego one. I stole this off my Crocodile because I think if I get an aftermarket one, there's just a little bit more traction to it, and it does fine, except for if I'm starting and it's like halfway on a curve. Like I've stopped it like here before, and it had a hard time kind of getting going. And some of it's because the engine's on a curve. The cars are curved in 2 different ways, and it's just a lot of force to get it to go. But anyways, I was really thrilled with this. I did have to make I think 2 modifications to his design. There was supposed to be another little piece in here, and for whatever reason, it kept clicking against this wheel. And so I just took that out. And then I also added an extra plate here because I found that it held this piece on much more stably. And so I also needed to increase the height of where the boiler sat as well, or the boiler cover. And so that's all up by a plate. But aside from that, it is exactly how he designed it. And it just works good. Now, I did have to rebuild it a couple times because first off, I put one of the gears in backwards. And then just getting the gears to all kind of line up, it's a little bit tricky. But once it's kind of working, it just works. And it goes really well, as you've seen in my past videos. But yeah, and then this just kind of slips right on here. If you kind of like push it back over, this is hard to do with one hand. It just sits down over the whole thing. It just has a connection point on the front side. And let me pull that out, and there we go. So we can take it forward. And that's just one motor. Okay, so that's one motor maxed out. You can see it does fine. It's just not like super duper fast. But it does go along. It gets around the corners fine. You can see down there, Harley's looking at it. It makes it around that full turn, that basically a full turn just fine. No problems there. You can see on this back, it will pick up speed a little bit because it's a straightaway. And you know, it all does fine. It's all fine. That's just one motor. So had I just chose to put one motor in it, I could have done fine. But it moves a little slow for my taste. Corners make me a little nervous, you know, just because there is a lot of corners, and like if it gets stuck back there, like that's an annoying fix. So as it comes out here, I will add the second motor in here. So let's add the second motor in, and you can see there's both motors. It's definitely cooking now, right? Like there's no question. It doesn't even really slow down much on the corners. This back, it will really pick up some speed. Now, is it as fast as my electric or my passenger train? No. But I think if I changed out that, that rubber wheel, it would do, or that rubber ring, I think it would do well. It also goes backwards. Like, I mean, I would assume y'all know that, but, so anyways, so that's what I did. So that's what I did to motorize it. Again, I think I'm in at about $60 or so. He has a list of parts that you need because the boiler section is actually, I think, 2 studs wider than originally made, or maybe 1 stud wider. I don't remember, but the boiler design is a little bit different. And so you need a couple extra parts. You need a couple extra pieces up here for some of the detail stuff. And unfortunately, you don't get any of the detail on the inside because the motor comes all the way to the back. So that is one of the downsides to it. But I think for being motorized, it looks great. And it's actually a little bit more appealing. Let's just compare it to what I consider its kind of like sister train. This one, because at least the motor's covered, right? Or the hub's totally covered. So anyways, so that's that. I'll make sure to link down below the directions and Danjo's social media, because his design is free. All of his stuff for making this is free. He has a list of the parts you need. He has a YouTube video about the testing that he went through to get to this design and it running, and he has some stuff about using pie like bricks, and just really great stuff. So make sure you check out his stuff. Make sure you hit like and follow to make sure you stay like tuned for some more updates, because there's lots more projects to be on. Maybe that's a little tease of what's going on over there. So anyways, thanks y'all. See you next time.